posture princess, and I'm a lover of movement. So what are we going to do today? Butt up the wall. Butt up the wall is a wonderful stretch, movement, posture. It simulates bending. It is, for some people, it's just their hamstring stretch. But little do they know, they're also strengthening their hamstrings, their glutes, their back, realigning their spine, relieving their neck, planting their feet, getting stronger feet, relieving knee pain. Yeah, it's kind of a catch-all thing. So I'm going to show it to you today. The name Butt Up the Wall came from my teacher, Angie Thusius. She is from Honduras, and she invented the name Butt Up the Wall, which I thought was very clever. English is not her first language, and I thought she was really nailing it on what we were doing in Butt Up the Wall by saying you're putting your bottom on the wall. So why? Why would we put our bottom on the wall? Why not just bend well? I call it butt up the air. Well, one of the reasons is because when you do butt up the wall, you are touching the wall with your butt. Yes, and the why is touching your touching the wall with your butt. Why is that important? Well, when I touch my hand or my arm, I have a whole different relationship to this, or if I bend my hand, it's different than if I say I'm going to bend my hand, or if somebody tells you to bend their hand. To bend your hand and have somebody bend it, it's a different sensation, it's a different experience, and it's a different way of using your body in space. Sounds crazy, but touch is a very powerful thing. So you got a lot of butt. You got butt starting at your back, you got butt that ends at your legs, you got butt in between, you got butt on the sides. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, your buttocks has a lot of real estate, whether you're little or big, and where your rear end is on the wall and what part of your rear end is on the wall is extremely important, because it is the piece I want you to feel that is connected to quality bending. And when you bend really well, you have a tremendous amount of joint health. It helps the joints. And let me show you a picture. So this woman is doing a butt up the air, you could say. Just anyway, she lives off the land. You can see that she bends. Her bending is her way of life. Bending is a way of life for many people that work off the land. And because we don't bend well, there are a lot of things that happen to the spine, hips, and structure of the human body. Because I've seen that actually help people with a lot of problems. And I've been doing it my whole adult life, because I started doing this when I was in my early 30s. So we're going to learn butt up the wall. Then you're going to ask me all sorts of questions about it, because I've kind of got the idea in your head. So what's key is that you watch is that I'm going to put the part of my butt that touches the wall is the part of my butt that's connected to my thigh bone. So it's the bottom, and we call it in medicine the gluteal fold. That's where your bottom and your leg meet. That is a really important place for you to get to know experientially, physically. You don't have to know it in your head, you have to know it in your body. And then what I do with the upper butt, where it's connected to the spine, that part of my back is very stable. So if you think of your butt as right next to your spine, that's not the part we're putting on the wall. That's the part that's really, really stable, locked in place. Okay? Lower part is the movie part. Upper part is the very locked in, stable part. It's connected to your sacrum and your lumbar spine, L5, L4. And that L5 vertebra, when it is in place and you have a small sacral arch, it's what it's called, when that's locked in, which it does lock in with the vertebra, when that's locked in, your back is straight and you're real stable, And then you have more fluid movement in that leg, butt area. Okay? Here, that's enough to talk about. Okay, here we go. John, guess who came in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whoa. All right, so we're going to do butt up the wall. I'm going to do it right here. Babs, come here. There you go. All right, so here's what we're going to do. So in butt up the wall, the first thing I do is I find the groove in my back. I put my fingers in the little gully right there. If I don't have a gully, I make one by sticking my butt out. Because if my back is bumpy like that and I'm bending at the waist, this isn't going to work. The first thing I have to do is stabilize my spine by putting this sacral arch in my back. Then I'm going to, not then, but you want to relax your belly. So there's no tightness in holding. No holding at all. Put my feet, I'm going to put them more than hip width apart. I'm going to put them comfortable apart, shoulder width, maybe more. If you do a little more, it seems to be more comfortable. Toes are slightly turned out. Toes are planted once they're turned out, and my upper thighs, they turn out. So it looks like I'm kind of on a horse because I got this turnout from right here. Do not crank your knees. Don't try to turn your knees out. They're turning out from here. So I plant my big toe, I soften my knees, I turn my thighs out, I place my fingers on my arch, and I shift 99% of my weight to my heels. Now, my upper back is not supposed to slump. I keep it straight as I can. And so then, what I do is I take my buttocks back, and I put my butt on the wall. You'll feel your hamstring stretch. Sometimes what I do is I take my bottom, take my hands, put them on my bottom, and I lift my butt up a little and stick it on the wall. And then rest my arms on the chair. So now, most people are going to feel a stretch in the back of their legs. Great. That's fine. You should not have pain in your back. Your back should be fine. So if you have any pain in your back, you need to make sure you have an arch or you don't have too much of an arch. And if you have too much of an arch, all you do is gently bring your chest down a little. That's all it is. So here you are. You can put your arms on the chair that way, or you can do it this way. It doesn't really matter. But the fact that you're touching the wall with where your leg bone and your tushy meet is very important. You're getting a stretch, you're realigning your hips, you're taking pressure out of your knee, you're getting your back stronger, you're straightening you're learning what a straight back is, and then you come up out of it. So, why is butt up the wall important? Because when I bend over to pick up something, it's a butt up the wall. So why is it important to do on the wall? Like I said before, if I touch the wall with that portion of my buttocks, I know now about this area. I know it from an experience point of view. I can feel it. The hardest part of people learning to bend like that woman I showed you, the hardest part is for them to be okay with their rear end going up. Rear end going up is a very, very strange feeling to many people. They don't mind going about this far and doing a squat. They don't mind doing good mornings with a bar. But to go a little further than that, kind of freaks people out, and that range of motion is not there for most people. So I showed you that woman. Now I'm going to show you another woman. So here's a woman who's got her kid on her back. And look how strong she is. She's very relaxed in the face, but her back is just like a table. And when you grow up living in the parts of the world where your body is your main tool for survival, you move much different. And you have much greater awareness and strength and mobility. And what I stumbled onto early in my career as a physical therapist was that when I took these movements, what I call life movements, bending is a life movement. That's what I mean by that. Walking is a life movement. Sitting is a life movement. You know, all these things are life movements. Leaning back in a chair, getting up, walking, even squatting. But these are movements that our body knew when we were little. But if we don't live in a part of the world where we have to sit low, like this woman, see her back is nice and straight, she has all that range of motion in her hips. If we don't have to do that, then it starts to have an impact on our joints. And I just discovered that this was the best PT exercises and healing tool that I could find. It was like doing more than I had ever expected. So if I'm standing around all day like this and visiting with people and pulling my butt under and sucking my gut in and doing all these kind of things, I am putting my body, my structure into a postural disadvantage. And if I do it a little, no big deal. But if I am really habitually doing that, I'm going to have an impact. It's going to have an impact on my joints. And not a good one. Now, there's another piece of this I want you to know. These movements I break down into detail, like I did with you with butt up the wall. Plant the feet, relax the belly, find the groove, bring the hands back, touch the spine, turn the thighs out. It's like a yoga. It's like Tai Chi. It really is. It is becoming very present, very aware of what your body is doing right now. That's the toughest part with people. No, give me a fix, just give me an exercise, give me a TheraBand. Let me just do these kind of exercises and let me watch TV while I do it. You know, I don't do that. I'm not a fix-it girl. I am a literally redesign how you move person to the design you were born with. It's so rewarding in so many ways. Now, being a physical therapist and an orthopedic physical therapist, I want to hear your questions on which joints or what problems you may have and how would butt up the wall relate to that. Because I've done it so much that I've seen a lot of good things, and I can just sometimes I can do better answering a question about butt up the wall other than most people will say, wow, I got a good hamstring stretch, or I came out of it and I feel taller, or I just don't feel like I'm working as hard standing up. Of course, as you do it more and more and more and more, meaning weeks, months, even years, it opens up another world. It opens up a different place. It gives you a different experience. I mean, I don't really need butt up the wall because I really know this area of my body. But when I'm bending over doing something, I can always stretch a little more. I can always feel a little change, and it's really rewarding. I think a lot like when I watch piano players or musicians or artists, there's just, it never ends. It gives and gives and gives and gives, and you can feel it and things like that. So if you take one movement that I teach, and you butt up the wall, and you really experience it over and over, and have it on my YouTube channel, many different places, and you just go through all the steps and do it every day, do it for a few times every day, relax your head, you can rest your head on your hands on the chair, and stay there for 30 to 90 seconds. Stay there 90 seconds. Get up, do it 3 to 5 times a day, and then you'll start bending different. And if you start bending different, your life will be different. So the only way for you to know if this is true is for you to put it in your life and experience it for yourself. But it does take a commitment. It's not going to maybe happen by doing 3 of them for 1 week or 3 of them for 3 days. I don't know. Maybe it will. Who knows? Okay, so let's go to question time.
Harriet in Tucson asks, how do you define bending well? With a straight back, with a deep bend or with a high butt?
Okay, so that butt up the wall is a good bend. Now, we can bend at different degrees. As you saw, this woman is bending it she's not bending as much as this woman is bending, right? They're different. They're both bending, and for you to bend well, you have to repeat it a lot. And bending well could be at first just butt up the wall, like I showed you. That would be your first. You come away, you're at your sink, your bathroom. You're unloading and loading the dishwasher would be maybe a deeper bend.
No, I think the question is what standard do you use to define bending well? Is it a straight back?
Oh, okay.
Is it a deep bend?
Oh, okay.
Or is it a high butt?
Okay, so I define it with all of those things. If I have my fingers on my spine, and there's a slight arch in my back, and I bend, that is called a straight spine to me. A straight spine is not where I drop my tailbone. Some people call that a straight spine. I have a slight sacral arch, which is what you have is a sacral arch. It's a little mechanical thing with your bones. But then when I put my hands back here and I bend, that's a straight back. Must have a straight back. That's my definition of straight back. Bending, how far over? Depends on your range of motion of your hips. If I bend my knees more, I can get my butt higher. Because I have limited in my hamstrings. I don't have as much range of motion as that woman. But I have a lot more range than most people. It doesn't really matter. I can bend my knees a little and my butt will go higher. My back is still straight. So there's different degrees. Straight spine with a small arch. I went halfway, I went full. All those things. But the deeper I go, where my butt goes higher, that's a little more advanced. So if this is my butt, and this is my head, and I'm bending, and my butt's going higher, that's a really good thing. It's just takes a little bit more practice. So one lady had her kid on her back, and one lady was all the way over in the garden, or in the yard, or out in the field. Straight back, slight arch, that's a straight spine to me. Legs apart, how far you put them apart means how much you need it. If I'm really tight in my hamstrings, I'm gonna have my legs further apart maybe. I used to do it like this a lot, where I had a lot more space between my legs. And then as I got more mobile, I had less space. You have to experience with your own body by starting with butt up the wall.
Ed in El Paso is asking, how can focusing on my backside help my pains in front, like my knees and ankles?
Okay, that's a really good question. Your knee pain possibly can be because your knee is not moving with ease. And what ease means to me is it's moving well in relationship to your hip and your ankle. So if you have limited, so let's move the thing so I can do this. So if I bend over and I shift most of the weight into my heels, let me have my big toe planted, and I take my bottom up, then this part of my body is working, and I'm not loading my knees this way too much, and I'm also getting more mobility in my hip, which will give me more mobility in my leg. Some of this is hard to explain. It really is, and we're in a society where we like everything explained. What I would do is I'd take that butt up the wall posture and I would practice it, because it will help you in a way load the back of your body more and unload your knees. And that's just a term I'm using. I don't really like having just a limited terminology, but it's kind of limited. And your ankles are always going to be happier if they are not loaded too much in the front, but more towards the back. So butt up the wall brings the center of the body, and it tends to take it towards the back. It's very subtle. And if it takes it towards the back, the joints in the front or the ankle tend to really like that a lot if your problem is from movement or partially from movement. I'd say most people have a partial problem from movement. Okay.
Bev in Butte, Montana asks, maybe I missed it, but what part of my butt is best on the wall?
The part that is connected to your leg. So I'll go over here, and I have my fingers on my arch. And so when I bend and take my buttocks up, play like you're the wall, it's the part where here's my leg, and here's my butt. And where they meet is the part I stick up on the wall. I actually pick my tush up and sort of stick it. And that piece right there we call it the gluteal fold, where your bottom has a little connection to your leg, and you see the flesh. We call it the gluteal fold in medicine. So what that connection there, that's where we move from. We move. We have to have a good relationship with the leg. We have to think about what the legs are doing with the pelvis. Okay? The back is in stable position. It is stabilized. It's not bending. The back is not bending. The back has got an arch, and you are bending from the hips, and it's the base of your butt.
Larry in Williams says, how long should I hold it on the wall?
I'd say 90 seconds. I mean, I need you to do it more than once. So I think when you're there 90 seconds, you can hang out maybe 60 seconds, and you're hanging out and you're relaxing. And you're just getting used to your butt hanging on the wall, strange as that may sound. I don't want you to hold a lot of tension in your neck and shoulders. I tell people oftentimes, they get in here, I'll tell them at first that they feel free to rest your head as long as your chair is high enough to rest your head. I don't want you to slump, but you can put a pillow, and you can put a pillow or a blanket and rest your head, because when resting your head, you have a tendency to hang out there longer. Okay? And if you feel tightness in your hamstrings, the more you stay there, the longer you stay there, let's say 60 seconds, you're more likely to relax and your body's familiar. Then do it again. Always do it twice or 3 times, because I always find the second and third time of doing something gives you a different relationship with it. And I can advance this later on. There's some advanced butt up the wall moves that I want to share with you, but not today. I just want you to get the basic.
Pierre in Palos Verdes asks, where should my head be when I'm coming up?
Okay, that's good. So there's different ways I show this. If you tend to have vertigo, I just have to always clear this. If you tend to get dizzy, I want you to look up and then come up. That would not be my ideal, but boy, it's ideal if you have vertigo. So, otherwise, I've been here. What I tell people, it's a little bit advanced, but if you can play like that somebody's pulling the base of your hair up, that's nice. Usually feels good. Kind of keeping your face down, it just makes all of this feel better. You can come up and bring your head up, but it tends to wear you out over time. So just a step advancing in this. I'm relaxed, and I like to think of my neck as long in the back when I come up. You can play with it. It's not wrong to pick your head up, but usually people are tight back there. So why not give your neck a little Little rest.
Well, speaking of neck, Natalie in Flagstaff asks, can butt up the wall help my neck?
Yeah, it can. So I've always had neck pain in the past. Neck was my thing, sort of. Bothered me a lot. So when I used butt up the wall, I was really careful with how I use my neck. So there's two things I like to do. I either would like to, like I showed earlier, I would like to do butt up the wall, and then sometimes I come up and I take my hair and I sort of pull my hair, because I like to feel like my whole spine is doing this whole move. That's one of my things. The other thing is you can just really keep your face down without slumping. Another thing, Natalie, if you rest your head, it often just makes it a much more pleasant experience, and you can focus more on your hamstrings. And then when you start to come up, you can just make sure you're not slumping. Put your hands back and just keep your face down. It's a nice feeling. When my hands are on my back, it helps me not slump in the shoulders. This is important. And it lets my neck have a nice, gentle stretch. If my shoulders roll, it's not good. You don't get anything out of that. If my shoulders are back and they just happen, they will stay back if my hands are on my back. They will stay back just naturally. I'm not trying to force it. They'll stay back, and I can come up and enjoy a little bit or a lot, depending on your tightness, of my neck stretching.
Carol and Paige says, once I get my butt up on the wall, should I think about my energy going back into the wall or out through my neck?
That's really good. That's kind of advanced. Rock on. All right. Here's the thing. I love that question. Most people never think about that. I want you to think you're hanging your butt on the wall. So I want you to think of it that way, towards the wall. Butt into the wall. And what I like, the analogy is little, I don't know how old or young you are, but there used to be little cup hooks growing up. My mother would have cup hooks, and you would just put a little cup and hook it on these little hooks. So I'd like for you to think that you're being hooked on the wall by your butt's hooking, and your butt is back, and the rest of you is just relaxing away. So you're actually thinking about butt going towards the wall and the body relaxing in the opposite direction, which is kind of advanced. And that combo is powerful. If you can get in there. So like I'm in, and that's going to be a little more advanced when I do an advanced butt up the wall, which I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. So we got here. And so I got my butt. It's got cup hooks. And so I am I'm hanging. Let's start with hanging. I'm going to hang with my butt on the wall. Now for some people, you have to press against the wall to even hang. Because I think I remember that happening for me. I couldn't keep my butt on the wall. So I couldn't really hang until I could press. So if I can press into the wall a little, then I got that. And then once I got that, I could kind of hang. So maybe I took you too far, but go into the wall is what I'd say.
Last but not least, Ted in Juneau, Alaska says, would tightening my abs help when it comes to dropping and bending and then holding it there?
No, I'm not a tightening the abs girl. So the less tension you have in your abs, the better. That doesn't mean I don't believe in the abs being strong. I just don't think that's the way to strengthen them. If you're relaxed in the belly and you stick your butt up on the wall, you're strengthening your back, and when you come back up, you're going to have your abs have to be involved. I've helped people undo a lot of this tightening here. and that's made them feel better. Your abdominals are designed to work in harmony with other muscles, okay? So if you will let your abdominals relax, don't worry, they're going to work. Even relaxed abdominals work even better. And I go into butt up the wall, and I'm relaxed. You let your abs relax. Don't worry, you're really letting your back work better. And I come up, don't worry, your abs are always going to be working in harmony with your back. You may not specifically see it at this moment and understand it at this moment, but there should be no gripping here. And that could be a good video on just abs, because I feel like I'm only giving you a little bit of information. So would you practice butt up the wall a lot and just see if you felt better? You just should feel taller, and believe it or not, if you stretch your neck up right now and press tall, you'll feel your abs kick in. But if my spine is tight or my back is tight and I'm slumped over, I cannot feel the lengthening and working of my abs. So that's a kind of a roundabout way to answer your question, and hopefully I'll get on to an advanced butt up the wall video and an ab video so you can see how abs work with the whole body. Okay, that's it for today. Next week I'm going to be a little earlier. What did I say, 10 Pacific time? I think it's 10 Pacific time because I have to kind of play around with the times. And please share, like, and what else? Share, like, and
Subscribe.
subscribe.